today with messages from the Ascended Masters. So pick your pile 1 with the lovely ametrine, a beautiful crystal that has everything to do with manifestation, clear thinking, clear thoughts, and taking control of yourself. Pile 2 is the beautiful clear quartz cluster. Clear quartz is the master healer. Or the lovely naturally heart-shaped celestite cluster, connecting you with your guardians, guides, and angels. So take your pick, see which one resonates with you, and we'll be back with each of the piles. Hello, pile 1. You've chosen the lovely ametrine cluster. And let's see what the Ascended Masters have to tell you today. So first up we have the card of Temperance. And Temperance is all about the power of sobriety and self-restraint, calm. And it really does talk to us about good health in all areas, whether you may be are currently enjoying good health in all areas, or perhaps your focus needs to be in restoring good health in all areas. And obviously all areas means physically, emotionally, materially, financially, in terms of your mental health, in terms of relationships, both with yourself and with others, and all those other aspects of your life. This is also about bringing things into balance or maintaining the balance. So I know in this busy life that we all lead, it's sometimes difficult to maintain the balance between work and home, and being a parent and being a partner and being a friend, and including yourself in all of your outward responsibilities. The Temperance card in the aspects of self deck is also about looking at all perspectives before deciding, finding or acknowledging that not everybody sees the world from the exact same angle as what you do. And it might be about finding the middle ground between, two realities, the reality that you live in and perhaps the reality that somebody else lives in. And finding the similarities or the miscommunications that can happen when we want to be right, because according to us, our reality is the only reality, and according to them, their reality is also the only reality. So sometimes it's about finding the middle ground and maybe putting the emphasis more on communication and understanding rather than in being right. That might be something for someone. There's also the warning for moderation that comes through, or the encouragement to continue enjoying balance in your life. And also obviously the encouragement to maybe stand back and to fill any internal lacks or spaces where there was possibly fear before, that you can maybe just have a look to see where you maybe need to just fill your own glass, your own cup a little bit, because we're very good as human beings at helping others with their problems, and sometimes less good at taking our own advice and sometimes taking doing what it is that we know that we should do, or that would help us to do, because we've got all sorts of excuses that we come up with, or reasons why we know, but so there is very much that looking after yourself in your business and in your looking after others as well. So the next card, from the answer is simple deck, that would be the Speak with Love card. Now, Speak with Love tells me very much about reminding that words have energy, being responsible with your words. And they're just asking you here, to consider whether you may be sharing information from a place of fear or ego, or place of opinion, or are you sharing calming, loving appreciation for all that is, and making sure that the information that you do share is maybe based in truth, in support, in finding the good in the bad, perhaps. So sharing words of wisdom that are maybe calming, or creating a reality where there is a less fear-based reality. So maybe, being aware whether your words are actually creating a reality that you'd like to live in, as well as the reality that you would like those around you to live in. So are you perpetuating the fear-based stuff, or are you creating solutions, or being solution orientated and bringing the light in and helping people to feel a little bit more empowered by your words? Because these days we are so focused, there's so many crazy things happening in the world, that sometimes we get a little bit overwhelmed with the negativity, and without even realizing it, we tend to show a lot of that, or share a lot of that negativity in the words that we share, or the opinions that we hold, or the comments that we make. So this is really just about being aware of your words, and sharing the divine light through love-filled words, words of healing. And maybe it would be something to ask Spirit to use your words and your energy to calm the storms of any circumstances that you may find yourself in, or that you may others around you might find themselves in, that maybe you can calm their storms through your words of healing and light and calm and reason and practicality. So maybe this is just a reminder for you to choose calm confidence over fear and overwhelm. So speak words of love, healing, and calm confidence. Right. Then the next couple of cards are from the Earth Magic deck. Let's see what that holds. Okay, we have DNA. We have tree. We have whale. Right. Now, what these three cards tell me about is that this looks to me very much like there's some inner work that needs to happen here. The DNA card is very much about reminding you, as your Speak with Love card did, that actions and words have consequences. So there's always a choice that you have between destiny and fate. Sometimes it's about you deciding where it is that you're wanting to be, rather than on feeling a little bit like the victim and allowing life to drag you along, and all you're doing is reacting to everything that's going on in your life. So this is very much about you being in control, and actually having a choice that you take control and be the captain of your own ship, the captain of your own life. So maybe you need to look at forgiving your past, or your past people, or your past experiences, and then taking those experiences and learning from them. So not everything that we experience in life is pleasant. Sometimes, it could be generational things that happen to us, or that we have to deal with. Sometimes there are definitely, based on our own decisions, that sometimes we don't always make good decisions. And then we've got to face the consequences of that. And, the snakes just remind me of, obviously this is the DNA, but it reminds me about looking after your physical health and seeing how the choices that you make are perhaps playing out in a very physical way. So this would be the choice of eating a lot of unhealthy foods, and then physically speaking, you feel slow, or you might gain weight, or you might feel terrible. Digestive system might battle a bit, or maybe you feel bad about yourself or guilty. So this is about saying, well, it seemed like a good decision at the time, where you were maybe wanted to reward yourself and decided, well, to have that unhealthy something was the exact right thing to do. And then the consequences of that played out in a way that maybe wasn't that good for you. So they are just talking about where you maybe need to physically or emotionally or mentally make some changes that actually support your well-being, or support whether it's your physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional or financial or material well-being, or even the well-being of your relationships, because the snakes being intertwined, they also just brings to mind the relating to others that we do on a daily basis. So this is just about how you can be aware of the actions for consequences, the actions of the words, the actions of your thoughts, of your expectations, the same way as everybody else is responsible for theirs. And I think this is also a good reminder not to take things personally, because the same way as we make decisions based on our stuff without any consideration for other people, the same applies for them. Maybe you are feeling a little bit hurt or put out or inconvenienced in a way because somebody else didn't do what you'd expected them to do, and it's created a little bit of chaos in your life, or you wonder what you did wrong, or what you did to deserve this, or why didn't they do that. So that's all those questionings, and the answer just might be, well, they didn't consider the outcome, they didn't consider the consequence of the decisions, or the consequences of the decisions that they were making at the time that they were making them. They might have realized them afterwards, but at the time of making it, they didn't see it. Moving over onto the tree, I must tell you, the very first thing that comes up to mind here is a placenta. All right, so I don't know if some of you are maybe looking to have a child, and the nourishment that is given from the parent to the child in the womb is a very unique one, because the same way as the baby sends back some demands for what it is that they're needing to the mother via the placenta, they also send antibodies, they send waste. The mother does the same in return. She sends antibodies and she sends nourishment. So it really is a cyclical something. But I'm just picking up here for some of you, if you've been waiting for news about possibly extending your family in some way, especially with the DNA card, I would definitely say that there is a high likelihood of a family extension, a baby that's going to be on the way. All right. So I am also, what is just coming through here? I feel like there's the tree. I don't know what those little things in the tree are, if they're flowers. But I just feel like there's hope, there's good news, there's like a new dawn that's coming as a result of this news of the baby. Okay, so but ultimately the tree is also about the as above, so below, which is pretty much what the DNA card tells us. What's inside is what's on the outside. Your the instructions and the information that is inside the DNA gives you the physical attributes that are on display in the material. So this is very much about, there's a quote that says thoughts become things, and both of these cards indicate that quite importantly or significantly, that thoughts really do become things. So just be aware of your thoughts, be aware of your actions, your intentions, especially your words, if they're words to yourself or words to others. Maybe creating a bridge in your relationships, whether it's with your family, family tree, or whether it's those that you relate to, that you've maybe taken their words a bit personally. Maybe steer yourself from some rocky waters or choppy waters into calmer waters, and that will help your family tree or your relating tree to maybe just grow a little bit. So this is very much also speaking about the balance that's needed. So if you've been feeling a little bit scattered or a little bit spacey, it's also a reminder for you to get yourself grounded. So the roots, has to put down the tree has to put down really, really deep roots in order to weather the storms that come and move the top part of the tree back and forth. So the deeper the root, the higher the tree can grow. If the roots don't grow too deeply because of various factors, then the tree is very much in a predicament when a storm might, or strong winds might come along. It's very much at risk of getting blown over. So this is something of saying, know who you are, know what you want, clear those old family stories or belief systems or negative words that you've been basing your truth or your reality on, and really just use them as compost to grow your tree nice and tall and strong and big and reaching for the light. All right. So this is very much about finding perhaps where you disconnected from your body, and also where you disconnected from your life force energy that sustains you through all levels. Because we always do make better decisions when we feel fully present. So the tree always reminds us to get nice and grounded, because a lot of people use the roots, when they ground themselves, they use the analogy of growing roots. So this is about being fully present. And also maybe for some of you, just reminding you to take some time to go outdoors, to enjoy nature and to recharge your batteries. And again, just not allowing yourself to take things too personally, but really just knowing that there are so many, very many aspects and facets to our lives, and people that influence us on a daily, weekly, sometimes hourly basis, that you can use to actually strengthen your tree. Because this card tells me very much about growth. This one tells me about organization. That one tells me about control. But this one tells me very much about growth. It also talks to me, just being reminded about getting grounded and putting your roots down and that kind of thing. But also just breathing, because we do sometimes, when we get a bit stressed, we forget to breathe. Oh, there we go. Well, sorry, this one says breach, but I almost thought it said breathe. But as the whale actually comes to the top, it surfaces through that water, and it almost, if you imagine yourself going through a body of water and surfacing, it's that big gasp of air, fill your lungs, get yourself grounded, expressing your presence. So maybe see where you can use your old experiences in a calm way as compost to help you to grow nice and strong, and grow in a way that really sustains your reality, sustains yourself, sustains your family, sustains your beingness. So all of those would be very helpful things for you to do. It will sort of keep your ship, or keep your boat. They were talking about being a captain of your own ship, out of rocky waters, and keeping it a lot more stable than possibly when you're ungrounded and being blown away by those winds of change and all of that. So the whales just, teaching us about possibly focusing on a new or more positive perspective. Again, if your self-talk is a little bit more positive, then your perspective would be a little bit more positive. So this is really about finding your freedom, allowing yourself to be a little bit different, regardless of how you are compared to anybody else. Because let's face it, the whale does look very different from the fish, and from maybe even other types of whales. So it doesn't matter how you are feeling physically, but this is just, or how you're looking physically. This is more about the emotional content and how you can use your energy to get yourself maybe out of the mundane, to create situations for yourself that are more enjoyable, to express your joy. Maybe a little bit of a change in environment can sometimes create the shift or the breakthrough maybe that you need here. And definitely, if we look at the boat and the whale both using the water and their vehicle to move them forward, that might be something for some of you. So looking for ways to create the breakthrough that you maybe need to experience. Maybe some of you need the feelings of relief, or the feelings of freedom, not to have to make decisions, so there is maybe something along those lines. Possibly allowing yourself to let go of any previously held fears or assumptions or limiting belief systems about how you think you should behave, or how society dictates that you should behave. And maybe just as the temperance card reminded us, to bring things into balance, to find a good perspective, have some positive self-thoughts that's going to change you at the fundamental level, keep yourself grounded, and then that will allow you to maybe create the breakthroughs that you're looking for in terms of reaching your goals and being yourself and letting go of your fears and all those other things that us humans do so well. So this might also just be a reminder with those two cards, and even this one, to say maybe it's time for you to take yourself out of your familiar surroundings, maybe a change in your routine, or change in the setting that you find yourself in might also be positive for you. To maybe also take some time to recognize possibly where you've been holding yourself back or hiding yourself away, and maybe just bring some playfulness into your life or into your experience, because maybe playing small hasn't been serving you. Maybe you need to step into your greatness. And as Marianne Williamson once said during one of her courses, sometimes our biggest fear, or I think it was one of her poems, sometimes our biggest fear is not in being too small, but in being too big, putting ourselves out there and going, hey, this is me, accept me. You don't have to love me, you don't have to hate me, you just have to accept me. This is who I am. And by accepting yourself, I feel that also gives other people not quite the permission, but almost the incentive to accept that you are who you are, and they've just got to do the adjusting. So maybe recognize where you're holding yourself back, and maybe there's something there that you need to do quite intentionally that will create the opportunities that you're looking for, or the acceptance of yourself or your situation. And sometimes it's the accepting of who you are and where you are that brings through the changes that are necessary and needed, and maybe you've been waiting for quite a long time. So this is really about making the changes at the deepest levels of yourself that will then help you to navigate the more material levels, and navigate the more physical, practical aspects of yourself. So let's have a look now to see which Ascended Master is stepping forward to give you some help. Oh, great. Horus. Horus is such a lovely, lovely deity. So Horus, the card of Horus talks about cosmic gateways, and the little positive wording at the bottom of the card says, your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. Isn't it amazing how they all just work together in terms of a message? I always find this so fascinating, even though I pull the cards and, I don't know what the cards are going to say beforehand, but somehow it all just seems to reflect everything else. So Horus, he's offering us, obviously, the guidance that abundance and support and opportunity and healing and everything else that we need, whatever way we see our blessings, is ready and available and there for us. And it's our capacity to use our positive words and positive intentions, and by doing the internal work, we'll create the external reality. This is really about your capacity to connect to your goals or your outcomes, and to accept that it really can become a reality if you are prepared to be a bit playful with it, maybe, and to accept it as a viable reality for you to live through. That will give you your relief or your permission to actually, because I think that's what most of us miss a lot of the times, is the permission. We don't give ourselves permission to experience the outcome that we're looking for. So Horus also teaches us about maybe making space in your life, because sometimes we're so busy, asking or demanding or praying or talking incessantly about what it is that we want, instead of maybe focusing on what we already do have that is a stepping stone towards what it is that we're looking for. So maybe taking some time to be quiet and to listen to God, or listen to your intuition, to listen to the solutions that come through, and maybe, follow them, or follow your intuition, or listen to your intuition. So becoming aware of how you are feeling and what you're thinking, and the energy that's surrounding you, that maybe you're creating or that you're being influenced by, and seeing how all of that actually creates the reality that you are experiencing. So if you are needing some support while you make the changes in your life and make the decisions maybe that are it's my cat that's looking for some attention again, but the making the decisions that will support you going forward on your way to gaining your goals, and creating your outcomes and creating the realities that you're looking to create. So Horus is very much about that, seeing things from a higher perspective, because he is the falcon. So it's about being laser focused on what it is that you are wanting to achieve, or the outcome that you're looking for, remembering that. And here the circle around his head just reminds you to keep your own focus sort of inside your head, and let the world be outside. So that don't allow the external influences to influence the internal stuff, So don't allow other people's limiting beliefs and their opinions to get you off track what it is that you need to be focused on in order to achieve the goals that you're after. So maybe that's something that needs to be brought to your attention. Well, according to the messages from the Ascended Masters, that's exactly what it is. So see how it is that you can maybe utilize this on a very practical way for yourself, to make small changes during your day that can create big changes in your life. And I would say getting organized, being practical, not taking things too seriously, but finding space in your day to create a little bit of relief for yourself, even if that means taking time out to breathe. And when you breathe, you breach, so you get yourself out of that situation, that you can just regroup. And if you do that, it literally can take you 60 seconds to get yourself grounded back in your body, and do some deep breathing to bring all of those little bits of you back into one spot, and that will help you with your focus. So Horace is promising that if you can do the basics, get the basics right, then the big stuff, the cosmic stuff, can open up for you and create the results that you're looking for. So this is very much about being the captain of your ship. Steer your little boat in the direction that you want it. Are you going to steer it towards the bumpy side of the river, or are you going to steer it away from the rocks? Are you going to steer it into the calm parts, or are you going to bump yourself into that bridge that divides you from the cosmic gateway, or you're going to take the lead, do what you need to do, and get yourself through to the other side, whether regardless of what those obstacles might be. And maybe those obstacles really are your own belief system, or your own intentions, or your own expectations. So they're just saying, just make sure that everything is nice and balanced. Oh, here we've got the snake again, that reflects that medical stuff, or the physical stuff, your DNA. So that is really making changes on a conscious level can affect your unconscious bits, all right? And making changes on your unconscious or subconscious sides can also affect your conscious side, so your physical side. So that is maybe definitely sometimes something that can cause some self-sabotaging. So just be aware of where it is that you have maybe not got as much control as what you would like, and where you may be on a bit of autopilot that's creating those self-sabotaging habits. And when you become more conscious to it, you'll have more control over it, and then the changes can happen, and the relief can come through. So that's lovely. Thank you, Pile 1. I hope that this helps you a bit. If you found any value in it, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe and a follow and a comment. All of that helps me in to grow the channel, and helps it to reveal the content to others that maybe would also benefit from hearing it. Hello and welcome, Pile 2. You have chosen the lovely clear quartz cluster. Clear quartz is a master healer, and when you're doing any type of crystal work, it can take the place of any other crystal. The card that says death. Now, everybody gets the heebie-jeebies when they see that name, and this is just a reminder that this is not a physical death. It doesn't predict somebody's demise, but this is very much about the power of transformation. And this card speaks to us very much about this being a good time to eliminate old negative beliefs, patterns, attitudes, that kind of thing, that maybe get you back to basics, where you can really see what is necessary in your life. It also encourages you to refocus and to release any baggage that may be holding you back, or any outdated ideas or opinions, really anything, that us human beings grow from or grow out of. So the way that you think when you are a teenager compared to how you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s is always different. When we look back at our previous ideas, opinions, some of them quite strong, especially in our 20s, we tend to have quite strong opinions on everything, which are not necessarily correct when we look back in our 40s, 50s, or 60s. However, they are relevant to the person that we were at the time that we held those opinions. So maybe something to consider would be to really take stock of, where you are now, what your current belief system includes, and just remember, you're not glued to those opinions and those belief systems. If they are outdated, I always use the analogy of vegetables. If they're getting soft and squishy and smelly and they're no longer contributing any type of benefit to your life, or if it's not contributing nutritionally to your emotions or to your existence, maybe it's time to consider throwing them out. And this is what this card is really bringing into your focus, is to go back and see, get back to the basics and see what is really necessary to include in your life these days, because the who you are now and the who you were a year ago are two different things. So this might be a call for you to refocus and to release any of that outdated baggage, and maybe to open up to some new possibilities. And maybe by you releasing your baggage and opening up to new possibilities, then it allows you to be ready to make and to create and to accept some necessary changes, because change, for us humans, is not necessarily the easiest thing for us to do, but sometimes it's very necessary for us to do. So this might be a time where you want to or choose to move away from any unnecessary pain or stagnation or frustration or relationships or relating to various things, where it's your attitude towards finances or your attitude towards circumstances. Those are also things that you can maybe just update and eliminate and change and move on. And, maybe it would be a good time for you to curb the impulse of fighting your change, if change, because change can be very scary because we don't know what it holds. And sometimes holding on to the old, yucky, familiar is preferable to the not knowing how the future is going to be, or not knowing what this brings to us next. So a lot of people keep themselves in old, outdated situations or circumstances, whether emotionally or physically, simply because they're so scared that they know how bad the current thing is, and they're not sure if the next thing's going to be worse. And this card is, and the Ascended Masters are really assuring you that things can get better. If you allow for the energy of change and the possibility of change to come through into your life there, and to explore, what kinds of changes would be very helpful to you. And then implement those action steps, to get you in that direction. And this might be the right time for you to do that. So let's see what the rest of the cards have in store. But that's definitely a wonderful start to your reading, pile 2, of just saying, hey, listen, who are you now? And maybe it's time for you to make those changes. Maybe now you're ready to make those changes that you've been longing for or hoping for. That possibly, in your younger years or before now, that you really weren't. Maybe the circumstances just weren't supporting those changes, and it looks like now it might be. Oh, wow. Well, if you needed confirmation, I would say that this is it. So the share your gifts really does look to me about the giving and receiving, and that is quite important, giving and receiving, because a lot of people are very good givers, but they might not be very good receivers. And they're just talking about, if you share your stuff, then there's twice as much to go around. So perhaps have a look to see where you have got maybe some hidden gifts, maybe they're hiding in plain sight for you, that you can share. Because, a lot of people think that they need to come to earth to do something massive, to be great, or follow their greatness, or they have this ego prompt that says, but I've got to do something big, I've come here to do something great. I'm not wanting to spend my time just on being a a normal person going through the normal routine. There's something, I'm here to do something much bigger. And this is saying, well, you can, that can be completely true, but maybe you don't need to be the next Dalai Lama or the next, number one influencer in whichever way. But you can actually create a lot of influencing just simply by being you. You can do a lot of healing. There's a lot of growth, there's a lot of sharing, there's a lot of very good things that come through if you just allow yourself to be the best version of who you are. So don't let your ego tell you that you are insignificant in any way, or not important enough, or that you need to be bigger or more, or more influential to make any type of difference, because I'm telling you now that that's an ego trap. So this is very much just allowing the flow of spirits to express itself through your loving kindness, and maybe just allowing the deeds that you do have, or the things that you do share, to come from your heart, because that's really what's more needed now than ever. So they're just saying, decorate your life with kindness. Yes, there's rough parts. We've all got rough parts, and we've all got lovely parts. And they're just saying, if you focus more on the kinder parts, the more generous parts, the sharing parts, the healing parts, the supporting parts, that's you will influence way more people than what you give yourself credit for. So this is very much about understanding that by sharing your loving kindness, and almost allowing yourself to step back and realize that when you do share from the heart, and you share from your kindness and generosity, that the healing and the changes really do come through, and they really do result in the upliftment of more than just you. So by maybe smiling at the teller, or allowing that person to cut in front of you in the traffic, or being kind to the person that's frustrating you, you can literally save a life. And you might not ever know it, but those kind of influences happen on a daily basis in ways that we're not even aware of. So allow spirit to move through you, allow your higher self to influence through you on a daily basis, simply by just sharing those wonderful best parts of yourself. Sometimes just being a listening ear, or saying a kind word, or sharing a smile, or an unexpected compliment, maybe an offer to help somebody, or an expression of gratitude or support or patience, or maybe just the ability to make somebody laugh, can create an enormous shift, not only in yourself but in them too. And maybe opening up a reality to somebody that's maybe been feeling stuck, or depressed, or suppressed, or unmotivated, and it gives them the gift of hope, the gift that things can be better, that they do matter, that somebody, even maybe a stranger or a friend, sees them, that they matter. So this is really about influencing people without realizing it, and by being that best version of who you are, allows you to realize that the small things are the big things, so you really are enough. And this is really the reason why you incarnated, is to do all those small things. Because if everybody on the planet just did the kind, gentle, supportive, healing small things, our world wouldn't be in such a mess, because everybody tends to think it's the big things that matter, when in fact, if we got back to basics and just did the small things, we would see big changes. So there is that quote that says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And this is what they're saying. All those little bits, those green tiles behind this lady just shows us, all those little bits add up to be a big bit. So this is maybe just something for you to consider, because you are bringing something valuable to the world. Your energy is valuable. You are enough just by being you. You contribute an enormous amount of positive energy to the world, simply by showing up and helping others to experience the best version of yourself thereby helping not only yourself but also them. So this is a case of, the rising tide lifting all the ships, and that's going to create the abundance in your life. It's going to create the opportunity in your life. It's going to create the variety in your life. So there's a lot that comes on offer as a result of you just doing the little bits and sharing your unique gifts. And if that unique gift is just to being somebody that can be depended upon, or somebody that always just brings a sparkle of laughter into a room, or helps somebody to feel a bit more calm, or that they can do it. So a bit of encouragement, whatever it happens to be, just maybe have a look to see how you are contributing to your experience, to the reality that you find yourself within, that can then create the support that is needed, maybe by others, that then allows you to enjoy that experience a little bit more than maybe what you realize, simply by acknowledging your value and how you're contributing very, very positively without even being aware of that, but how you're contributing positively to a very positive experience, or a less negative experience at the very least, of other people in your sphere, or in your reality. Good. Let's see what the Earth Magic cards have to teach us today. Okay, so we have Gaia with nurturing. So as we all know, Gaia or Gaia is the feminine version of God, so the goddess of nature. And fire with passion, and dance with celebration. Good. So Gaia with nurturing tells me very much, as the previous card told us, that receiving is as important, and sometimes more important, than the actual giving, especially when done with an open and humble heart, and from a space of gratitude. So this is very much about, we all like to be givers, but sometimes we need to know that just the same as givers, we need somebody to be on the receiving end of our giving that makes us feel good. Sometimes we need to be on the receiving end of somebody else's giving to allow them to feel good. The same way as nature provides for us and supports us, and provides for us in so many ways that we may be not even aware of. Just as sometimes the trees create the use up the carbon dioxide and create the oxygen, which we don't even think about, as we just breathe. So this is very much about the support that is given to you by nature, and as you part of being nature, that you give to others. So this is about also allowing the gifts to express themselves, or expressing yourself through love gifts, through nurturing, through maybe just providing help, support, sometimes a little bit of physical stuff, whether it's a plate of food or an invitation, or a compliment, that just helps others to feel like they're not alone. So this is very much about knowing that you are in a symbiotic relationship with not only nature, but also other people and other aspects of yourself that are also parts of nature. So this is also about you taking the time out to receive nurturing from yourself as well. So if you've been neglecting yourself a little bit, or putting other people first, maybe this is a time for you to be the receiver of your own gifts as well. So maybe you need to consider taking some time out to receive some of that nurturing that you like to give out. Also possibly see what other beneficial things that you can do for yourself, or that you maybe have been postponing, or that you've been promising yourself that you maybe just haven't got around to doing. So maybe this is just a little reminder that it's time to take time out to nurture and be nurtured, so that all of your needs, whether they be physically, emotionally, energetically, or financially, that they're all needed, and that they're all met, and nurtured. So through that nurturing, there is transformation. There is possibly, I want to say, like travel to maybe new realities for you. So getting yourself out of any stuckness that may be going on. There's maybe transformation there in terms of family or emotions. And then obviously, with Gaia being the goddess of nature, or nature herself, this is also the giving and receiving, the being aware of your impacts on your world, treading gently upon the earth. Just as we want people to tread gently on our own realities emotionally, this is just a reminder to do the same. Also just a reminder there to maybe breathe, to take time out to become one with nature, through all of its valleys and its hills, the ups and the downs in life. There's still beauty, it all contributes positively to the whole. Sometimes we need to cry rivers in order to clean out the old emotions so that we can be more grateful or more humble, or get ourselves refocused on what is important to us, or to start over again. So that's such a beautiful card, and such a lovely illustration. So yes. And then the fire, passion. So I mean, this card just is absolutely action orientated, so this might be talking to you about what you can do or be or have or achieve if you maybe just spend some time igniting the passion that you have, or putting your passion or your action steps into place. So maybe take some time to consider what's missing in your life, and possibly find ways to fill those gaps that can make you feel whole again. So this also can be a reminder not to take life too seriously, and take some time to dance, express yourself, get out of your head, put your responsibilities down for a while, and just allow spirit to move you, in that lovely creative energy. Put your best foot forward. So it could also indicate, what's that flame of creativity, and ask yourself maybe what creates that flame of hope or excitement or ambition, or potential that will allow you to find a way to express yourself, or maybe find ways to express that through your current situation or reality. This brings very much the creative sacral chakra into, or certainly into my consciousness when I look at this card. And your sacral chakra is all about the nurturing, which we found in your previous card, but also the creative expression and solutions. So this tells me very much that there are solutions. If you're looking for solutions, there are solutions that are in the process of incubating themselves. So don't get too stuck on how you think things are, or how you think things were, but this is very much about just getting out of your head and just expressing yourself a little bit more, giving yourself the freedom to express yourself in a way maybe that you haven't expressed yourself in a long time. This also talks to me very much about it's your root chakra, so it's your sexual expression. So maybe have our beingness, the who we are, is very much held down in that root chakra, and that's about expressing yourself without limitation and without excuse. So maybe that's also your driving force, your life force resides down at the bottom, that wiggles its way all the way to the top, and then is expressed through your words and through actions. So that's also your safety, your security, your feeling like who you are, whether that be man or woman or something else. This is just your beingness, to express yourself unequivocally as who you are. And this just brings my attention down to those his calf coverings, which look to me like grass reeds, something like that, which brings me back to the first of all, he's got it around his neck in the picture, but also in the Gaia card, about the nourishment, getting back down to basics, nourishing you from the grassroots upwards, and this is very much about maybe your expression, that you maybe just need to focus a little bit on expressing, making sure that when you express yourself, that you do so passionately, or that it comes across that meaningfully, so sometimes maybe others can misunderstand where our boundaries lie, or what's important to us, and this may be just reminding you to express yourself clearly and with unequivocally, with energy that makes it known exactly what it is that you're thinking, intending, expressing, and what you will and won't put up with, so very much a boundary card as well, which I think ties very much in with your transformation card that came through in your aspects of self. Don't be scared of taking those hard parts and expressing them, if it's good for you, because through your creative expression, it's utilizing what might be a negative factor in a positive way. So the same way as the fire can cause harm to you, but you can also use it in a helpful and healthy way, so there is that needs to be brought into your consciousness as well. All right, so nurturing your passion, I think, and then possibly celebrating yourself. So as he's dancing, isn't it so how I think it's lovely the way that he's dancing and she's dancing, and this is talking about the balance and transformation of nature and the giving and receiving, which is exactly what you do during a dance, and that first card said the same thing. It's about that delicate balance between all aspects of yourself. So obviously the dance celebration one is all about the moving forward. Once you've ignited the fire and you've got the support and you've got everything in balance, and you are considering yourself as well as others, then this is about dancing forward. So and dancing well, so dance to the beat of your own drum, or don't be scared to dance to the beat of your own drum. But part of that is that you need to be fully present, fully connected, fully giving yourself permission to be who you really are, in order for you to express that which you are. So your quality of your experience relates directly to the degree that you are fully present a lot of the time. So maybe this is your time to realize, or to think on the fact that perhaps your responsibility, and maybe your only responsibility and reason for being, is to be happy and to express yourself joyfully, and that will elevate your vibration, your energy, maybe your situation, and help you to move the energy from the fighting and flighting, to being more in flow with the rhythm of nature and the universe, that will create a far more positive, maybe uplifting or supporting environment. Sometimes we are so busy being busy, or just busy with life, or busy with other people's stuff, that we don't stop to hear the music. So the same way as we don't stop to smell the roses, sometimes we don't stop to hear the music that really defines us, and the music that we are marching to, in terms of rhythm and in terms of pace of our lives. So maybe this is also a time for you to just have a look to see what beat are you, or what rhythm is your life marching to. Do you maybe need to get back into more of a natural rhythm, a supporting rhythm, one where your passions and your uniqueness are supported and encouraged and acknowledged, and shared, that will create the celebration or the positive outcomes in your life. And maybe you need to find reasons in your life on a daily basis, regardless of what's going wrong or going on, that you maybe need to find have a look for those positive things that are going right in your life, even if it's a simple thing like the sun shining so you can get your washing dried, or in South Africa there's the load shedding schedule is delayed so you can boil your coffee for boil your kettle for your tea or coffee, or that you're prepared for when load shedding is. So there's a lot of ways that we can find small ways in our lives, or small things in our lives, to be grateful for, that all those small little things contribute to the massive whole that then supports us and gives us reasons to celebrate on a daily, hourly, minute by minute basis. So because it's all the small little steps that form together to form the beautiful big dance that impresses everybody. So that looks lovely. So if we just tie this all together again, allow yourself, or give yourself permission to transform, be a good giver and a good receiver, because sharing your gifts is what's going to create the transformation, and that's going to create the support that's going to contribute towards the whole. And by nurturing yourself as well as others is going to give you permission to stoke that fire within you, or give you your passion to change things, or your passion to start something new on the side, or your passion to find that creative spirit in you, a new hobby or a new social outlet, or a new sporting outlet, or just a new attitude maybe, and that will give you reasons to be happy in your life. Good. Right, let's see which Ascended Master is stepping forward with a message for you today. Oh, lovely. The Archangel Michael. He's honestly one of my favorite archangels. And for those of you that need this information, I'll tell you he's particularly good when going through some legal stuff. So if you are going through some legal stuff, the Archangel Michael is there for you to call on him. And he is very good at allowing people to speak the truth, not their truth, but the truth. So he's just saying, in terms of expressing himself on this card, to trust heaven, to know that you're safe, and to know that you're not alone, that angels do stand close. And he also reminds you to surrender your concerns and allow miracles to occur. Okay, and I think this is about the same thing, be a receiver for the miracles. The miracles can't come if you're not in receiving mode. If you're in problem mode, then you're not going to see the solutions. So that is possibly something that Archangel Michael is also just reminding you about today. So you don't have to you don't have to show up or attend every conflict or every fight that you're invited to, which we're all invited to, those fiery situations on a daily, weekly, sometimes far too frequently basis. But he's just saying, you don't have to attend. You don't have to take things personally. You really can just express love, express compassion. You can express tolerance, or non-judgment. So if you've been feeling a little bit overwhelmed or sensitive or under pressure, or like everybody's wanting to fight with you all the time, or that kind of thing, he's just telling you to step back and to allow the angelic team to really step forward and create solutions for you so that your miracles can come through, possibly in ways that you may never have considered the solutions could come through. So allow Archangel Michael and his legion of angels to be here to help you to clear away all and any low vibrating stuff, whether it's energy or people or situations or karmic connections, maybe anything that's no longer serving you or that's outdated. So there's your transformation again, and helping you to be open to receive the miracles that change brings. Again, I say this to all the pals, but I always find it absolutely fascinating how all the cards just seem to tell a story. You really can't make this stuff up. So there's no way that we would be able to say, hey, listen, let's go and find all the cards that can tell this kind of story. It really is a miraculous gift that they present to us that we can then interpret. But pile 2, if you've been looking for a way to get yourself out of a situation that you're in, that you're looking to get yourself into maybe a situation that your idea would be more suitable to you, I would say that by following the guidance, the advice, and the messages from the Archangel Michael and the Ascended Masters and angels today, I would definitely say this would be a way for you to transform the negative into the positive, or the winter into the spring, so that you can grow from there. That will give you things to celebrate. I'm also just picking up here travel. I think we mentioned it here with this card, but I am maybe relocation or a change of situation. So there really is something that is going on with that. As I look at this card, I'm also hearing because a couple of my I'm clairaudient as well. So what I'm hearing here is the shaking of the little beads, as the beads shake together as this lady dances, and that just tells me again that the shaking, the rhythm, the music creates a vibration and energy about it, and they're talking about like good luck coming through. So this is stop stressing, focus on putting your feet forward, enjoy the journey, keep everything in balance, because your luck is on its way. So if you've been waiting for something or expecting something or not knowing if it's going to work out in a positive way, this definitely tells me that it absolutely it is, and it will, and it's in the process of. Okay. And I do feel you've got more than one option that's coming to you, but that's those beads just shaking, and I'm getting the image of a scarab beetle, but more particularly here in South Africa, we get a large black beetle called a toktoki beetle that sort of knocks to call its mate. The beetle knocks its abdomen on the ground, and it brings in other toktoki beetles. But this is very much about that, your feet hitting the earth, or your actions are creating that vibration that is going to bring that luck or that result or that outcome or that goal more in your direction. So keep at it. I think that's possibly the overriding message here, is so don't give up, just please keep at it, because you've got the attention of the other beetles that are bringing the luck to you. So keep keep doing what you're doing, if that's aligned with what you're looking for, and it's don't give up. All right, so it's that reminds me of that picture of that guy that's mining for the diamond, and he stops and he's literally like a couple centimeters away from it. So they're just saying, don't give up hope, keep your passions going, because there is definitely something better. Just get into those cycles, monitor that balance, and the transformation is definitely coming. Okay, pile 2, I hope that helps you in some way and it made sense to you. Remember, this is a timeless reading. It is a general reading. It's not going to resonate for everybody. But if you decide to come back here on a different day and watch this part of the messages from the Ascended Masters, then we can just trust that your higher self, or the Ascended Masters himself, or maybe even Archangel Michael, has directed you this way. And it's maybe that you are now ready to receive this information, or ready to take it on, or that there's maybe a deeper level of understanding that's coming through for you. So yes, use it to the best of your abilities, and just know that always the best way to know what your future is going to look like is by you actually creating that. So thank you very much, pile 2. Take care, stay blessed, and we'll see you next time. Hello, pile 3, and thank you for joining us as always. Have a look to see the first card that we have here. Okay, so from the Aspects of Self deck, this is the Professor card. Now the Professor card, the information that comes through there is that words matter. Your words and other people's words matter. This is just a reminder to maybe observe your words and the words that you put out there, as well as the words that you hear. And perhaps a little bit of discernment would go a long way in terms of discerning whether it's opinion, or if it's fact, or if it's based in fact, or if it's based in opinion. Because I do find at the moment there's so much information. I think us as human beings have got information overload at this stage, and some of it have got little bits of facts interwoven in among opinions. But not everything is fact, and this card's just asking you to draw your attention to see where you're possibly being influenced by other people's words, or where you are doing the influencing with your own. So they're just saying, just see or observe whether the information that you are receiving and distributing, whether you is creating calm, or whether it's creating chaos. And I can tell you that if it's creating chaos, it's probably based on people's egos and people's opinions and that kind of stuff. My guides love to remind me that stuff from Spirit's high vibrational messages always create calm. It never creates chaos. So if there's chaos and disagreement, and they're right and we're wrong, and we're right and they're wrong, those kinds of divisive energies, it's usually because the ego, one or more parties' egos are involved. So they're just bringing that to your attention, and just asking you to discern how authentic the information is. Is it maybe just wishful thinking, or is it based on projection? So that discernment will allow you to maybe take responsibility for the energy of your own communication, as well as for the processing of the communication that you're receiving. So a reminder that what may be received or perceived as being fact could actually just be a matter of some broken telephone information. As children we played that game where we stand in a line and you whisper the information that you've just heard from the previous person into the next person's ear. And it's always fascinating how the information that the first person gave to the second person is very different to the information that the last person gives back to the first person, because what is said and what is heard are not necessarily lining up. And this is what this card is all about. I do think that there's a lot of broken telephone happening via the media, via social groups, via our friendship groups, via our own internal self-talk. So that is something that we need to be aware of. Now, I just want to take this little break and remind you that I am filming from home. I have a menagerie of pets. We have wild animals outside. So, and I've got a very talkative cat that he moans if I'm not paying attention to him. So if you hear my cat, that's just him. We have dogs and pigeons and wild birds and all sorts of things. So it's lovely to know that there's so much life around us as we, take the time to connect with the Ascended Masters and hear the messages that come through that maybe we are now finally ready to hear, So again, this card is just reminding you maybe to take time to silence your mind and to receive information maybe directly from source, and we know that it's from source when it's clear and it's calm, and there's a definite solution to a problem. The ego gets involved where it becomes a little bit mixed up, where there isn't a definite problem and there isn't a definite solution as a result, and it makes us feel a little bit emotionally wobbly or upset or fear-based or disconcerted in some ways. So they're just reminding you to silence your mind and just use discernment, even regarding the information you're getting directly. So give yourself and others permission to even update your belief systems and your opinions as we all learn more. So this again, we all think that so-and-so said this or believes that or told me this or taught me that. And sometimes we need to, just the same as we change our opinions and our belief systems, we've got to be a little bit tolerant and maybe less judgmental for others to allow them to change and alter and adjust their belief systems and opinions. But again, discernment is needed and necessary. But I think this is just reminding you not to get too stuck in the power struggle, not to get too stuck in the rightness. Sometimes people, want to be right instead of being heard or being understood or even understanding the other person's reality or perspective. So this card really just reminds us that there are so many different aspects that create the whole, whether they are some of the things are, as we said, wishful thinking, or opinions or ego, or that they're seeing that because of the reality or the perspective that they're seeing that from. So it's not necessarily the same reality or perspective that we're seeing it from. So this card really just brings all of that into your awareness. Okay. I'm also just saying, we call these lucky beans. There's lucky beans, but the lucky beans are in a pod. So there might be little truths, but the truths are maybe held together with lies. So maybe not complete truths, So again, that discernment. I'm also just picking up a heart there. So if any of you are feeling a little unloved or maybe unsupported in some way, they are just reminding you that your emotional needs they are aware of them and that they are being met. Okay, so have the courage of your convictions, say what you mean what you say, and don't take other people's opinions too seriously, use your filter. Use your filter on your own voice, but also use your filter in terms of accepting other people's voices. Okay, so the card is winter, And as we all know, winter is a great time for hibernation. But more than that, winter is the time for consolidating maybe the accumulated experiences, accumulated wisdom we've gained through our experiences, and maybe consolidating some hidden information. And I suppose that goes directly with that card of going, well, words matter, and maybe you need to give some of those words just some thought, see where focused intent can create your manifestation. Because if you are all over the place, and if you're not paying attention to your words, and if you're not paying attention to the words that you think, as well as those that you speak, then you're not going to be able to manifest. Because this just reminds me very much about, as children, we had the magnifying glass that we put in the sun to be able to direct the sun's rays in order to set, dry leaves alight and that kind of stuff that children do. And that just taught us that the focused intention is what actually creates the result. If you're just waving that magnifying glass all over the place, you're not going to be able to utilize the focused intention to create the result that you're looking for. So they're just reminding you there that to focus your energy and your efforts not only inwards to be able to express positive and a positive reality, but also to express them positively outwards. So if any of you are feeling maybe a little overwhelmed with information or with life, they're just telling you to maybe take some time to retreat into your cave, and to maybe to regroup and to recharge. I'm just going to let my cat in. So they just, as we were saying, just take some time to regroup and recharge, to assess your experience, your accumulated experience, assess the information that's coming to you. Maybe take some time to discard any unhelpful information or information that's maybe outdated, and to maybe use the experiences that you've learned in more helpful ways, in ways that are more beneficial for you going forward. So again, they're just reminding you that your only obligation is to yourself, your own attitude, your thoughts, your energies, your actions. And they want you to not only to respect yourself and to respect others by allowing them to carry their own burdens. So they want you to unburden and hand everything that's not yours back to whoever it is. So the reminder there is, if it's not happening to you, then it's not yours. If somebody else is expecting you to sort out a situation that maybe they've created, whether consciously or unconsciously, or purposefully, or have been sort of a so-called victim of circumstance, the guides, guardians, angels, and ascended masters are just saying, no. Learn from what your previous experiences. You can offer support, because words do matter. You can offer a place for them to regroup, but it's not necessarily your place to sort all of that out. So allow them, or respect them enough to allow them to carry their own burdens and sort out their own problems and find their own solutions. You can have input, and you can give them clear perspectives or alternative perspectives, but this is really down to the individual making choices or creating circumstances that teach them how to avoid those unpleasant circumstances in the future, by really gaining the wisdom that comes from having lived experiences. Okay, so yeah, take some time out. Think about what you've been through. Think about words you've used or that you've received, and how you can really utilize all of that information in a way that creates a positive outlook or a positive future, because we all know that after winter comes spring. So this is about, nurturing those seeds, or keeping those seeds of wisdom in a way that they can blossom and provide fruit, or provide growth during the spring that comes. Okay, let's see what we've got 2 cards. So the answer is simple. So first one is detox. Okay, isn't this amazing? They're just saying, hey, listen, watch your stuff, let go of the stuff that is no longer needed, because the ego really does love to accumulate negativity and hurts, and holds on to them for such a long time sometimes, so this is just reminding you that holding on to those negative hurts and negativity and negative, old experiences and that kind of stuff really sometimes can create some destructive patterns and attitudes of behavior, or attitudes and behavior, maybe feelings, and sometimes even physical effects in your body. So this might be a good time for you to, as I said there, watch your words, take some time out to assess things, where you can decide what stays and what goes, and really to start observing your thoughts, and maybe redirect negative thoughts to positive ones, or allowing yourself to detox from everything that's maybe dimming your inner light. You take out some time to maybe assess your life for any toxic or negative habits or routines or decisions or people or places or whatever it is, so that you can do what needs to be done in order to create the shift, maybe that would be more beneficial to you, that a shift maybe from being fatigued and stuck and sick and exhausted and depressed or frustrated or unmotivated or whatever it is that is the outcome of not feeling like life is going in the direction that you want it to do, and then direct it into how you would prefer to experience life, because sometimes it can really be as simple and as effective as maybe choosing to ignore something that might otherwise irritate you. So this is really about taking stock of things, like that winter card told us, taking stock of things, what stays, what goes, what's helpful, what's unhelpful, what have we outgrown, what are we growing in towards, all of us, every single one of us knows exactly, if we are honest with ourselves, what we need to do, how we need to act, behavior that creates positive or negative influences in our lives. So the positive or negative self-talk, whether to include some physical exercise or not, our dietary habits, to if it's good for us to continue to eat maybe lots of fast foods, or maybe that we relook at our diets and include more healthy options into it, or maybe increase our water intake, or so all of us know exactly what it is that we need to do to be able to feel better, but not all of us feel like we are in a position to make the changes that we know are necessary for a more positive outcome. So this is just telling you that it might be a good time for, if you can't make, and I always caution against making drastic changes, okay, because drastic changes like the New Year's resolutions, drastic changes are very difficult to maintain in the long term. But if you make small changes on a daily basis, then soon they'll add up to the big detox, each of those blades of, I don't know what that is, grass, each of those little blades are maybe one thing that you can change. So if your one of the things that maybe you need to detox from is feeling a little bit out of control, then maybe you need to gain a little bit more control. So you can do that maybe by getting up, setting your alarm for a certain time and getting up at that time, or setting a routine to say, well, once you've got up, you do a prayer before your foot hits the ground, or that you get a bit more organized in terms of your diary, or that you put a budget together, and stick to it on a daily basis. So all of those little detoxing of your old habits, you can put small things into place that will really add up to be the big thing that will then detox your life in ways that maybe you wouldn't even be aware of if you had gone ahead and done something quite drastic that would maybe be unsustainable in the long run. So if if you're wanting to run a marathon, you first got to get fit enough to be able to walk around the block. So maybe the start point of that is to put your shoes on and just walk up and down the passage, or walk around the block, if you're able to. So just doing the little things, and if you do that constantly and consistently, then that will allow you to detox of your bad habit and formulate a better, maybe a better supported or good habit. Okay, so you don't have to do everything all at once, but it is literally the little things that count. Right, let's see what's next. A new start. Well, that's very positive after detoxing. So there I would say they're telling you, if you do all those things, if you watch your words and regroup and decide what it is that you want and respect others' abilities to solve their problems, and you detox from your bad habits, you're going to end up with a new start. So well done. So this I would definitely say, if your life's feeling a little bit chaotic and messy, maybe it's time for you to take a breath and to know that you do have the power to change it. The same way as there comes a time where that little caterpillar thinks, well, hell no, I'm done. I've done being a caterpillar. It's time for me to spin my little cocoon and, turn to soup in your winter, and come out, that beautiful butterfly that can spread its wings and take it places, and, where it's not possible for the caterpillar to have gone to. So isn't it amazing how the winter card with the promise of spring is very much reflected in this start a new card. So there I would definitely say the acknowledgement, or acknowledging that you do have the power to create a different reality, with different decisions and a different course that you can correct on a daily basis, that will create a different outcome for you. So that seems very positive to me. So they're just again saying, don't allow your ego maybe to sabotage you by refusing to take responsibility for your current reality, because sometimes it's much easier for us to blame our externals, or sometimes even blame our internals, to say, but I can't go and walk around the block because I've got a headache, or I can't walk around the block because my back's sore, and sometimes it's the walking around the block that maybe gets rid of the headache, or gets the joints moving in your back so that it can be less sore, or shifts your mind onto something that's more positive, that gets you, gets that stagnation out of your way. So yeah, they're just saying that maybe it's time, or maybe the time's right for you to remind yourself that you're not actually a victim of life. You do have the power to transform all of it if you are prepared to put in the work constantly and consistently. Because as they reminded, and I don't think it was this pile, I think it was another pile, the journey of 1,000 miles does literally start with just one step, and then making a decision to do another step, and then making the decision to take a third one, and so on and so forth. So this is really about knowing that not only do you have the opportunity for change, but you support it in the change, and the change is needed and necessary, and the change is going to take you places that maybe you would never, ever, ever have considered that it would, simply by getting rid of that negative stuff, whether it's negative self-talk or negative listening to other people's opinions or egos or attitudes or their belief systems or their version of facts, and actually starts allowing that your internal guide to put you in the direction of positive change, positive transformation, positive life experience. So that looks to me that it would be most beneficial for you. So let's have a look at the Earth Magic cards. Okay, we have iceberg, submerged. We have music, harmony. That's lovely. And we've got 4 cards here. We have forest with breathe. And we have perspective. That's not the first time I've heard this word in this pile 3. Perspective. Good. Right, so who's been feeling stuck or frustrated, or that their dreams, their hopes, their wants don't count? Because this is very much about the iceberg energy of feeling stuck emotionally and maybe even physically stuck, So as we all know, the what we see above the water with an iceberg is, is contrasted very much about what's underneath the water. So here they're just saying to you that what remains unseen or undetected or subconscious can be exceptionally dangerous and damaging to us, if you aren't careful, or if you aren't aware, or if you aren't prepared to almost take the steps that's needed and necessary to avoid collision. The collision course can sometimes create a little bit of chaos. So that would be things like suppressed emotions, or suppressed experiences, or sometimes things happen to us where they're just too big to be able to deal with at that particular moment. So we rather put them away and hide them away and stick them in a box, and we don't want to deal with them. And then they tend to fester there in the dark. So this iceberg card is very much about going, well, listen, where are the suppressed emotions that, of previous chaos and all that maybe are influencing you in ways that you're not even aware of, okay? That are maybe coming out and playing out in your life in terms of maybe unexpected temper tantrums, or lack of patience, or lack of tolerance, or maybe physical ailments, or financial losses, or inability to make good decisions, or the inability to be who you actually are. So there's a lot of underlying, or maybe undealt with is a good word, undealt with stuff that's maybe based in fear or in rage, that's maybe trying to teach you things. And maybe the teaching is to say, well, listen, if you deal with the emotion, then things can start moving in a better direction, as the other cards would indicate, because this the 4th card, your bonus card, that came out here, because your pile 3 seems to have more cards than the other piles. But maybe this is a matter of finding a different perspective, to step back and to allow yourself to detach from how maybe you expected things to work out in that initial experience. Maybe it's time for you to detach from the perspective that you had back when you were that person, because maybe being more emotionally neutral about those experiences or those things or those people or those events or those circumstances would actually serve you a lot better, because then it's not going to or the influence would be a lot less than if you've got this massive iceberg underneath that watery emotion. So maybe that's something for you to consider, to maybe step outside of your expectations, see a different perspective. You may even find solutions or answers, or see the situation from a different direction to what you had before. So it gives you a different understanding. And an example of that is, it comes across I have many clients that come and see me, and a lot of the adult stuff is based on childhood trauma. My parents neglected me or rejected me or didn't meet my needs, or meet my needs in a way that I judge that they should have, and as a result of that, the adult carries around this feeling of, whether it's abandonment or rejection or lack of self-confidence, or maybe rage that comes out in some people, or their inability to have positive, healthy relationships, or maybe, commit to a job, or handle their finances correctly. And it's all based on stuff that was way back in their past, and they don't realize how much influence it's having on the music that they're playing in their adult life, or the experience that they're having in their adult life, that it's messing up their harmony of their experience in their adult life. And maybe it's time for them to see it from the perspective of the age that their parents were and the maturity level that their parents were at the time that they so-called did this to the child, them. So sometimes we can judge our parents or our teachers or our authority figures in whichever way it is, to say, but as a child you didn't look after me, or as a child you did this to me. And then when we look back to say, oh well, gosh, they were only 20, or they were only 25, or they were going through their own mental health issues, or they were going through their own physical insecurities, or dealing with a death, or grief, or maybe physical ailments, those kind of things. And that's the reason why they made those decisions, where we've not taken them personally as a child and allowed those taking the things that we took personally as a child to now affect us as adults, and we hold those resentments still against those old people. So this is what I think is being brought to your attention, is to say, have a look back. Maybe it's time for you to detox from all that stuff now. Maybe that's like, it's really take some time out to think of it from their perspective. Is it their truth, the truth, or your truth? And sometimes looking at it from that different angle, which we don't think to do at the time, because it's, well, they did it to me, they left me, they gave me up, or they neglected me, or they didn't feed me, or they didn't consider me, and whatever it is that they did to me creates this massive iceberg under the water that then sabotages you emotionally in the life that you have now. So it might be a good time for you to even acknowledge that from the perspective of the person that did that to you, and see how that can create the transformation in your life. So I really think that that might be helpful for some of you. All right. And yeah, I mean, the forest is just telling you to breathe, that to balance, because the same way as they did that to you, I can almost guarantee you doing that, you're doing that to other people. So, and in ways that you would maybe say to them, but that's not what I meant. That's, I didn't even think about you. I didn't consider you because I was going through my own stuff. So, and I'm going to say that the same rules apply for those that did it to you. Okay, so that might be something. So this is really just about relaxing and allowing your body, mind, emotions, belief system just to balance itself out, to maybe get your body to get back into itself, back into its rhythm, or back into its, and this just ties in with that card again, go back into your cave, regroup, find yourself, reduce your stress, maybe through some controlled breathing, because there's definitely a giving and receiving in the forest. The breathing, you have to breathe inwards in order to breathe outwards, and to be able to breathe outwards, you need to what follows is breathing inwards. So there's that exchange that takes place, and by you maybe forgiving those others, the others would forgive you too, and you'd all be able to sort of make progress, because the same way as their words matter to you, your words matter to other people, so that is definitely something that the Ascended Masters want to bring into your consciousness, because as they're saying, like, harmony is what's needed, harmony is what's necessary, harmony is sort of the outcome. That's what will happen if you do all the other stuff. If you're looking for harmony, if your life's a little bit chaotic or not working the way that you want it to at this stage, the way that you get your harmony, the way that the good things come to you, the balance becomes part of your life, is by doing all that other stuff, letting go now, seeing it for what it is, how it is, stepping out of that victim into the victor, and that will then allow you to almost bring all of your parts together, to work things out in a more mature, maybe a more conscious way, where you maybe give yourself the permission to be a little less ego-centered or ego-driven, and allow yourself to play a bit, to take time out to enjoy, to make music, to make memories, so that you can get back on track with being who you are and enjoying what you're going through. And these just look like little peace doves to me. So that brings in the peace that you're looking for, knowing that there are so many, these are string instruments, and when it's played all together, it creates the harmony. But if one of the strings is out of tune, it can mess up the whole lot, so just have a look at that hidden stuff, because it's important stuff. Okay. But I would definitely say that given all of these cards together and reading them all together, this really is the self-talk matters. The way that you remember how others spoke to you matters. The way that you speak to others matters, because it all creates these energy cycles that can either hold you back or can help you forward. So that is something that's quite important. They also bring into my attention that, we think about, so-called these emotional icebergs as being bad. But in terms of nature and nature cycles, which we're speaking about there with regards to winter, without icebergs, it doesn't give anywhere, it doesn't give the penguins and the polar bears place to live and breathe and breed and all those positive things that come out of having control over and solidifying. Because they spoke about consolidation, so consolidating your belief systems and your attitudes and your victimhood, and your experiences. And by consolidating that, you actually create a very fertile, the same way as the leaves dropping it onto the forest floor and creating that compost, you create a very fertile place where that environment actually supports positive growth and life and all those other lovely things. So they're just saying, just know that you really can compost. I'm a gardener, so the analogies are usually garden or plant or soil related, but and I mean, here in this picture you see the lovely flowers growing underneath the forest, the trees in the forest. So this is about saying negatives are not necessarily negative if, and the if is if you see where the positive comes into play and how you benefit from it. And that's the whole reason we have negatives. So let's have a look to see which Ascended Master has stepped forward to you today. Oh, wow. How lucky are you? Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara is a very high vibrational being. And he works very much with the light activation, so bringing the light down to earth, enlightening us, and as the card says, it says, shine your light, your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. So this, I would say, is just a reminder of not taking things personally, allowing your intuition to guide you instead of your ego guiding you, as they've spoken very many times during this reading, and to allow your uniqueness to shine through, allowing your unique energy to be magnetic, to magnetize or bring positive people, positive influences, positive experiences into your reality, so that you can be your lightest self and to light not only your own path but the path of others as well, because we know that the light, even when you're lighting your own path with a lantern, it does light more than just your own path, because others can then find their way as a result of your lantern. So this is all that you need to do in order to inspire yourself and inspire others, is to call on him to lift your energy and your vibration to its highest, safest vibration and state, so that you can really enjoy the spring that comes as a result of going through all of that stuff, consolidating it, watching your words, watching your internal words, and creating the harmony in your life that would be so useful. So that is lovely. So Sanat Kumara, you is a very helpful Ascended Master and one of the very highest of light beings that step forward. So maybe if you are called to it and if it resonates with you, maybe just see about including him in your daily connections, and ask him to help you as you step forward in this time, bringing light not only into your own existence and reality, but into that of all of those that you are surrounded with and influence in ways maybe that you're not even aware of, because they're just behind him. I'm just seeing there's some light codes there, but that is really the connection that you have with others that you're not even aware of. All right, we are all actually just cells in one massive body, and we're just unaware of that. So that's lovely, finding your peace and your harmony through finding yourself. So that's it, pile 3. I hope that you find this helpful, and I'm sending you very many blessings, and thank you for joining me. This is a timeless reading, so you are welcome to pop back here at any time that you like. And if you are drawn to any of the other piles, go and take a look at them. There's no right and wrong ways of doing this. If you found any value, I really would appreciate, and I'm very grateful for any likes, subscribes, comments, and any other interactions on my channel, because that just brings it to the awareness of maybe other people that it would help. But until next time, I'll see you again, sending you loads of blessings, and thank you for taking your very precious and valuable time to listen to the messages that have channeled through me from the Ascended Masters straight into your awareness. And when I was setting this all up, just so that you know, I did ask that the message comes through specifically for the people that choose these particular piles, and that it makes sense to them in practical ways that they can then implement the messages that come through from the highest guidance in ways that benefit them the most. So that's all from me today. Thank you very much. Take care, stay blessed, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.